Because people have their own lives with their own strengths and their own insecurities and their own problems, and you are not responsible for it in any shape or form. And if you clicked on this video because you want to let go of that, I'm here to tell you how. So in order for you to be able to let go of this limiting belief, you need to first of all understand where it actually even comes from. You can never really work on something if you don't really know its origin. So first thing you need to understand is that this is totally natural. Everybody experiences such emotions. If I feel an emotion, someone else feels an emotion, and they talk to me about this certain emotion, I'm going to feel a similar emotion. Because emotions and any other feelings, they just synchronize in a sense. Someone tells you about this, they project their own beliefs and their feelings onto you, and then you start to feel the same thing because they just projected it onto you. Which is not a bad or a good thing at all. It is very important to tell people about your problems, just for the sake of friendship, for example. It's actually a natural instinct to think that you are responsible for other people's feelings. You subconsciously believe that you are responsible for their feelings. It works in the sense that you experience similar emotions because they told you about it, as I've already mentioned, and then you might feel like you're responsible for that subconsciously. It is not a conscious thing. No one wakes up and is like, oh, I choose to be responsible for other people's feelings today. Obviously, that's not the way it works, but it works on a really deep level that is inside of your subconscious mind, okay? You don't decide this consciously. All of us, to an extent, have this sense of compassion and responsibility for others, unless you're a psychopath. You wouldn't have clicked on this video if you were a psychopath, so I assume you are not a psychopath. Even I, who is kind of an expert in these topics, has been that way too. It is totally fine. I used to be always someone who feels energies very, very easily, and I just kind of catch onto them and then really get it into me, even though that is not good. And I used to be really way too empathetic. And you need to stop being this empathetic. Especially nowadays that you hear all these terrible things out there. You open TikTok, you see there's genocides happening somewhere. You open the news, you see some other terrible shit out there. By the way, don't watch the news, they're terrible. We humans are not made to understand such level of negativity, such level of sadness, anger, and terrible feelings. Of course, we can experience them ourselves, but once you step into that terrible energy and really get into the rabbit hole, you're screwed. You go to school, you go to work, you hear gossip. You know, in our world, we're surrounded constantly by a lot of negative things. And it's all about where you shift your focus to. If you constantly expose yourself to those negative things, they're just gonna have a hold on you and they're just gonna make you feel terrible because those emotions really just get into you, then you're not going to be able to let go of this belief. And as I said, we're living in a world where the mainstream tries to rub negativity right up your face like this. It's really important to just distinguish, is this good for me, is this not good for me, and what should I actually take? So my number one advice to anyone out there is take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And this fits into all aspects of life. If you resonate with something and you feel like it's good for you, go for it. If you feel like it is not good for you, it doesn't match your energy, your vibe, and your overall goals, simply leave it out. Don't waste your attention on that. Where attention goes, energy flows. We all know that. So many people believe they are responsible for others because they cannot distinguish responsibility and compassion. Let me explain what compassion is first of all. It seems like many people nowadays can't really separate those two. Compassion is about loving others. Compassion is about caring for others and feeling their emotions on a healthy level and putting yourself into someone else's shoes at some point.
Put yourself in my shoes.
But I would never wear those shoes.
And you just gotta know that compassion is a really, really good thing and is very important to live in an energy of love and also have compassion for other people. I mean, imagine how the world would be without compassion. So compassion, again, is a natural instinct that all humans possess, and it's extremely important to embrace this compassion. But, as I've said, distinguish it from the responsibility. Yes, and I've really learned this through a hard process. There have been many things in my life where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually not even responsible for that. I'm not responsible for their feelings. I'm not responsible for the actions that they take. And I'm not responsible for whatever they feel like doing. And that is such an amazing life lesson that I've learned at such a young age. There's adults struggling with that. And there's many people nowadays that just are sort of people pleasers. So responsibility is about all the things that you consciously decided to take care of. For example, if I say to myself, I'm gonna get a cat, then I also know that I have to be responsible for the cat. I have to get food for the cat, I have to pet my cat, I have to take care of it emotionally and physically. Most of the time it's not this simple. As long as you do not own this thing or you don't consciously decide to take care of it, you are not responsible for it in any shape or form. The The only case where you're actually responsible for someone else's feelings is if you're the one who caused them. If you cheat on your partner, of course you're responsible for their terrible feelings. So what I mean by all of this is that you're not responsible for any people's feelings to a certain extent. Of course, if you do something terrible, that is going to have an impact on someone else's feelings. It's all just in moderation, and you have to understand my message in a literal but also in a spiritual, deeper sense. And once I was able to distinguish empathy and responsibility, that's when it clicked. You are yourself, other people are other people, and you are you. Another thing I'd like to add is that you need to set emotional boundaries. You can just say no sometimes. You do not always have to say yes, because you believe that if you say no, they're going to feel bad. Don't you ever base your decisions on what you think other people would think about it. And that's again just another example of people pleasing. And of course you don't want to people please, but you still should have a lovely relationship with your loved ones. And I know I've talked a lot about compassion and having compassion for others and everything, but the most important person you need to have compassion to is yourself. At the end of the day, you're the only person you can ever care about 100%. Other people are still external. Your friend, she might just be temporary. She is still an external person. People talk about bad relationships on the internet all the time. 10 signs that this is a toxic relationship, but the most toxic relationship that people nowadays have is with themselves. You gotta fix your relationship with yourself, and the first step for that is to have compassion to yourself. Because only then you can alter your subconscious mind and understand, for example, that you are not responsible for anyone else. So you're responsible to many, many things, but you're definitely not responsible about anything that has to do with other people and their own trauma and their own insecurities and whatever they're facing. Because most of the time that people feel triggered about you or about a thing that you said or did, they're just projecting their own trauma onto you. And that is totally natural. People always project who they truly are into the world. And I've said this in many other videos already, but that is so, so true. So let me just boil all of this down to just a couple of sentences and tell you that you have to know that you're responsible for yourself and the things that you consciously chose to be responsible about. And you're not responsible if anyone else feels bad, if there's anything terrible happening in the world, and if there's anything happening that you're trying to cope with, and you're like, okay, let me post this right now, think it's gonna be better. Let me do this right now, let me do this and that. So just be one with yourself, feel like you're one with the universe, love yourself eternally. Everything starts with self-love. You can't love anyone else if you can't love yourself properly. So in altering your subconscious mind or letting go from limiting beliefs, like what I talked about in this video, you gotta love yourself, because that's obviously the most important thing. Okay, this is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and feel free to subscribe to my channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm still really new here. I've been doing YouTube for just 2 months now, and it's been going great. It's really, really fun, and I love spreading my message out there, helping other people. A video of mine kind of blew up a little. It has almost 1,000 views now. And so many people really said thank you and how wise I am, and that just proves to me the point that whatever it is that you're starting, keep going. But I'm gonna make another video about this. Your goals are important, and it's important to go after them. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, see you in the next video.